Today we're going to talk about your planning and execution of 2022 and your digital marketing efforts in regards to that, and really nailing down how to dominate your online presence and get that high quality, consistent lead flow into your roofing business in that time. So we're going to talk about setting goals, and working that backwards into how many leads you need to hit those goals that you have. We're going to talk about the fundamentals of marketing success, how to optimize your website for conversions, kind of the big picture of all online marketing, that channels that are available to you, and what you could be tapping into to maximize your lead flow. We're going to talk about the trends that you need to focus on, and what's changing going into 2022. Also developing an action plan, right? My goal today is for you guys to have bullet points, right? To have things that you can take as actionable steps as we go away from this and moving into 2022. Is everyone in for that? Awesome. So to do that, let's start off by, what I just did, turning off our phones, Facebook, things like that. The next 60 to 90 minutes here, can be really impactful on your efforts in 2022. Another thing that I want to introduce to you is that, this is interactive, right? The reason that we changed our format this year from just doing webinars where I'm just kind of talking and you guys can, maybe ask questions in the chat and things like that, to being on video and more interactive. Caleb, how's it going, man? Got your camera on there. What's up, brother? Being more interactive, right? Caleb will attest to it. The last webinar presentation that we had, we spent an extra half an hour afterwards working through things, like just, so I'm really here to put my time and effort into your guys's success and actionable things that you can do in your business. So feel free to chime in, right? If you have questions, things like that, feel free to jump in and let's make this, let's make this the best.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
So if you don't know me, my name is Jim Aline. I'm the co-founder of Roofer Marketers. Why should you listen to me? I've written 2 books on the subject of digital marketing for roofing contractors, internet marketing for roofing contractors, and the best known roofer. I speak at a ton of industry events, Win the Storm, RoofCon, IRE, all those things. There you go. Ian's showing the book. We are the preferred, now I can announce it, we are the preferred digital marketing company for ICO Roof Pro partners. So if you guys are ICO Roof Pro preferred, there are some benefits to having us. We're excited to be part of that. We're a Google partner, which means that we spend a whole lot of money on pay-per-click advertising, or we manage a whole lot of pay-per-click advertising, and have shown results that Google makes us a preferred partner. I'm also part of the Pitch Pro movement. This will be announced soon too. I don't know if anyone's going to be going down to the Roofing Process Conference, but if you're talking to Adam Bensman while you're down there, or some of the other guys, you'll find out soon enough who they are. I'm going to be a member mentor in the Pitch Pro movement, so I'll be doing some calls over there and training calls over there for the members of the Pitch Pro movement. If you guys aren't familiar with that, check that out. That's Adam Bensman's program. We're members of the NRCA, and I am the host of the Roofing Success podcast. So hope you guys all get to tune into that. And this is what we do, right? On a day-to-day basis, our agency works with roofing contractors on their digital marketing efforts. We work with around 50 roofing contractors. So we manage the digital marketing of about 50 roofing contractors across the country, storm damage restoration companies, retail, commercial, residential, all across the board. So in this, there's 3 principles to our kind of digital marketing strategy that we implement when we work with someone. And that is, first is to maximize the opportunity to generate a phone call for your business, right? And I say phone call, I mean lead forms, I mean, inquiries on Facebook, I mean everything, but I call them phone calls because we want to get those people on the phone, book that home visit, right? So maximizing your opportunities, that's our first core principle. Our second core principle is to maximize your brand impressions to your perfect customer. Whether you know it or not, your brand is interacting with your perfect customer, right? If you're out in a neighborhood doing a job and you have a sign in the yard or your truck's in front of that house, that is a brand interaction with that neighborhood, right? They see that. And your brand can be reflected in positive and negative ways, right? If you have, a very clean, polished appearance, that's going to be a brand impression. If you have a kind of a worn out magnet on the side of a truck with a ladder stick, on an old rusty truck, that's a brand impression, right? So maximizing a good brand impression to your perfect customer, and then to maximize the conversion rates of all of those. And we'll definitely be going into that while we're going through that. So the first question that I'd like to ask everyone, and that is, what is the hardest part about marketing your roofing business online? Ian, what do you think, man?
For me personally, it's been finding the right avenue to try to get my name out there, knowing where to put your budget for marketing, knowing who the noise versus the music type deal.
Yeah, lots of options, right? There's lots of options of where to put your money, right? Cody, what do you think, man? What's been your biggest challenge?
Just trying to figure out how to be different, how to look different from, Jack and Joe down the road.
Yeah, the differentiation, right? Everyone's offering a free estimate, free inspection. We all have the best warranties or the best, right? Like, we're the best. Everyone's the best. We're all the best, right? Trent, what are you guys over there? What's your biggest challenge?
Probably the same as the others.
And Caleb, going into the new market, what's been the biggest challenge?
I have recently come to the realization that I just can't do it all myself. So I've got to find people or a person that I can trust to handle the online presence.
Yeah, there's a lot
interactions.
Right? Yeah. Jen, you got your camera on. How are you? You can unmute there.
Sorry.
No problem. What do you guys, what's the biggest challenge for you guys online?
Wow, online. I think I think for us, after going through a major storm recently in April, for us, sometimes I may not be answering your question exactly as far as online, but just trying to recover from the customer issues that come up and all the craziness from the storm, the aftermath, and dealing with product shortages and things like that. I think those are big challenges when things start to kind of damage your reputation in your own, in my mind. And so there's some battling back that needs to be done, and some repairing by getting out there and being involved in the community. So that's kind of where I'm at over here.
All right, cool. So we're really talking about why are we struggling online sometimes, right? Sometimes it's what we were saying, there's so many options. You're unclear about where to spend your budget, how much budget to allocate. You have options. This is what Ian, SEO, your pay-per-click, your website, social media. What should we be doing, right? What could we be doing? What should we be doing? There's so many things. Should we buy leads from Angie, or, what should we be doing here? Should we build our own brand online, right? Develop our own authenticity on social media and things like that. How to set those proper expectations in the market is what Jen is saying. Communication to those customers in the right way, and helping them understand the process, and especially when a big storm comes through, right? And dealing with the supply shortages, the communication. Marketing can be a major investment, right? So, the industry standard is about 5% of your gross revenue on marketing. Now, that's not your gross revenue from last year. It's your gross revenue goal, right? So if you had a goal of if you did $2 million last year, but your goal is 5 million, that budget is going to be different, right? So your budget has to be allocated and put together in a way that you're going after your goal. It's a major investment. A lot of times you just don't know, right? Marketing is not perfect. So, you know, sometimes you have, how many of you have put together some marketing campaigns and have not much to show for it, right? That happens, right? It's very clear that, you know, that happens. And so sometimes these marketing campaigns fail and we don't have a clear plan on if we overspent or if we underspent, if it underperformed, if it performed well, but we just didn't put the right effort into it. There's so many things that are challenging in doing your digital marketing there. But the opportunity is really in front of us, because if we get this right, you know, the companies in your area, right, that are getting this right, you see them, right? There are always those companies that you're like, man, they are everywhere. I see them everywhere, and they're crushing it. They have hundreds of online reviews. Their website is everywhere. I'm getting their Facebook ads, and they're like, I see their trucks in my neighborhoods that I'm working, right? Like, this is part of it, right? But there's an opportunity if you can get that right. So to get that right, we want to start with a clear plan of actions with goals, targets, and key performance indicators, right? You need to be able to generate enough leads to hit your revenue goals and to grow your business. But in understanding that, we need to work that backwards, because you need to be able to determine if you're getting a good return on your marketing budget, right? Your return on investment. Marketing is an investment. It's not a cost of your business. It's an investment of your business. It should generate a return. And so success will look like maximizing your lead flow and hitting those sales goals. So the first thing that we're going to get into is setting clear goals. How many of you agree with me that having clear goals is, like, if you don't have clear goals, you're just lost? Do you agree with me there? Like, you really have to have a clear understanding of what that is. A really great business coach, sales trainer, Brian Tracy, a quote from him is, "Success is goals, all else is commentary," right? Not having goals is like being at sea in a sailboat in the ocean with no wind, right? You want to get to land, but you don't know how you're going to get there. You don't have any direction. So having clear goals is like having wind in your sails, right? It may push you in a direction, but then you get to steer it, right? You get, hey, we're a little off track here. All right, now we get to move, right? We get to move this needle a little bit. We're moving back and forth. There was a Harvard study done of 1979 graduates, and of these super achiever Harvard graduates, 84% of them had no specific goal, right? 13% of them had a goal, but not written down, and 3% had clear written goals and plans to accomplish them, right? So they put the plan of action. They envisioned what they needed to do to hit those plans. And the result was that the 13% of the class who had goals were earning on average twice as much as the 84% that had no goals. The 3% who had clear written goals and a plan were earning on average 10 times as much as the other 10%, right? So starting with the end in mind, working through it, and what you actually need to achieve those. So we need the written goals, right? We need to set at a minimum a 1-year goal. So has anyone set their 1-year goal? What's your 2022 goal, Ian?
1 million in revenue.
1 million. Cody?
Yep, same as in, 1 million.
1 million. Caleb?
Ours is 1.2 million.
All right. Jen?
I don't know that
Okay.
information because we have a whole new team and we're working on that.
All
So,
right. So that's the key thing that you need to see what land you're going after, right? Where are we going? Right? We need to see where we're going. Now, within that million two that you guys are talking about, we can break that down quarterly and then down monthly. Seasonality will affect this, right? So thinking about the seasonality of your market and saying, well, I mean, we're in Minneapolis, so January and February are out, right? There's like, we're not roofing, right? But August and September and, July, we got to have, so separating your goals and making them, understanding them on a monthly basis. And what that does is that's that barometer, right? That's where you're tracking. Hey, are we on track or off track, right? And in doing that, so you have your big goal for the year. Now you're down to quarterly and you're down to monthly. So on that monthly basis, you can really determine, hey, where are we at here? Do we need to make adjustments, right? Do we need more activity? Are we good? And you need to have those starting and ending points to reflect on these goals, right? You have to take the time at the end of the month to look back and go, all right, this is how much activity we did, right? We ran this many appointments. We did this many inspections. This many had damage. That turned into this many claims. This many are approved. Now our pipeline is built to this, right? And so what does that look like? Are we good going into next month? Do we have the right flow in our business? So now we're determining what that revenue target is, right? How much that is monthly. Now we're going to work on how many calls that will require and you're kind of around your average job value. So let me adjust where I see you guys so I can see this screen a little bit. So you can see here, this is very simplistic, right? So if your revenue target is 3 million, your monthly is 250,000. So for, $1 million, that's 83,000 a month, right? For $1.2 million, that's 100,000 a month. Look at your average transaction value, and work that backwards, right? A question that I get a lot of times is, well, we do repairs and replacements. So how do we do that? Look at your average transaction value on a whole, right? Just last year, how many jobs did you do? Divide that out. That's your average transaction value. So then how many jobs did that require? This example would be 20 per month. So Caleb, how many jobs will it take to get to 1.2?
About 160 roofs.
Ian, getting to that million?
Yeah, I'm actually doing that math right now.
Perfect. Cody?
Should be about 100.
About 100, right? So we're working these numbers. We know. So now we need to look at what your average conversion rate is from the time you pick up the phone or knock a door to, from the kitchen table or from the inspection to that closed sale. Each of you are going to have different close rates, right? This is going to be different for everyone. It's going to be different in a retail market versus a storm damage market. It's going to be different if a good storm comes through versus if a storm doesn't come through, right? There's a lot of factors that go into this. So you kind of, I would always err on the side of caution and go on the low end. Another thing to consider when you're doing digital marketing is that your conversion rate is going to be lower from a call from someone on Facebook than it is from a referral from a friend or family member, right? You guys are, it seems like a lot of you are in that, what I consider the startup phase of your business, which is up to like 1.5 and below, 2 million and below sometimes, where you're everything in the business, right? You're probably the salesperson, the production manager, you do the invoicing, right? Like you're a lot in your business. So looking at you're going to close differently than if you have salespeople on your staff, right? There's, and you're managing them. There's going to be a lot of factors in there. Divide your call target by your conversion rate. So if you're saying that your conversion rate from somebody that calls in and there's someone that is looking for the services that you provide in your service area, right? You haven't determined that if there's damage yet, you haven't, right? How many people called in and said, hey, I want you to come out and take a look at this. Divide that out, and that will tell you the amount of leads that you need per month. So if someone wants to do that math, Caleb, you want to do that math, you got your 160, right? Or, we'll do that math. What kind of conversion rate would you hope to accomplish? Just say on the low end.
I'm a little embarrassed to say it, but I'm around like 15% conversion rate.
All right. This is what's great about knowing your numbers, right? I just had a conversation with one of our account managers. She was talking to one of our clients and they were at 17%. And so for their business, then it goes, well, what is the next thing that we need? Their next thing was to bring in, they needed to do some work on that, right? So, but even if you know your number, one of my favorite business philosophers, Jim Rohn, he has a quote that I love. If you know your conversion rate, you can print money. It doesn't mean that you have to have a high conversion rate. You just have to know your conversion rate, right? Even if your conversion rate was 10%, then you just know you need to get 10, you need to be in front of 10 people this amount of time to get to those goals that you're hitting, right? So you're working your activity backwards off of that. If your conversion rate is 30%, 40%, I get a lot of contractors on the phone that'll tell me, oh yeah, I close like 80%. I'm like, yeah, you just ask your cousins. That's the only people that you've ever done work for. Cause like you've only gotten referrals if you've closed 80%, right? Like you've never really sold in a market. So, but know your conversion rate. And then now that's something that you can work on improving during the year, right? So working that backwards, how many leads would that be per month? So we were talking, yours was 160 roofs?
160 jobs.
160 jobs. Perfect. We'll say 160 jobs divided by 0.17. We need 941 inquiries throughout the year, right? So we'll just call that 900. 900 divided by 12. You need 75 touches a month, right? You need to talk to 75 people a month if you continue with that 17% conversion rate. I would make an assumption, I'm gonna make an assumption here, that if you get in front of 75 people in a month, Caleb, that your conversion rate is probably going to go up a little bit, right? Like that's going to give you reps. That's going to give you some reps, brother.
we're brand new in a market
That's right. That's
kind
right.
of over. We have a lot of competition right now, but it's getting better. It is getting better.
And that is too. You're in the middle of the storm, right? Like you're where everybody went to. Right. So there's a lot of options for people at their doorstep right now. But that's how we want to look back at these things, right? We want to really break this stuff down, annual revenue goal, monthly target, average job book, number of leads required. Knowing that, right? Do you feel like that is helpful? Like not just knowing your sales goal, but breaking it down and saying, oh man, I need to talk to this many people a month. My company needs to be in front of this many people a month. Is that helpful?
Yeah. Hey, Jim, I got a question.
Yeah.
Is there any way at the end of this deal, could we get a copy of this slideshow or anything, or maybe get these notes or something?
Yep. I think I have a booklet from an old presentation that I can adjust and send that out to you. So Nick, if you can make a note for that. I have an old like PDF workbook. I think that I'll just make a couple of quick adjustments on, and I think it'll include most of this stuff for you.
And that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So we talked about what is your goal, how many leads you need, right? Like Ian, what did you do? What was the math on that for you?
I am looking through my CRM to try to find the amount of leads that came in this year, but based
Okay.
on the math I've done, I need 384 over the course of the year, leads.
Yep.
But that's not taking into consideration my conversion rate.
Yeah.
So
So about 30, what, 30 a month? Would that be 30 a month?
about
Something like
32 a
that?
month, yeah. And I
32
think
a
the
month,
last time I checked, my conversion rate was about 25%.
Okay. So that's the thing right now. This is what is amazing about looking at numbers is these numbers will show you things in your business, right? So, man, if you can change that, and we'll talk about this here in a little bit, but if you could change those conversion rates even slightly, makes a huge impact on your business, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's one of my goals, to increase that up to 40% next year by April.
and you get to 40% and you're moving, man. Like that is, that's an amazing thing. So now, now that we're clear on the goals, right? We've determined our goal. We've broken it down into monthly, week, even if you did it down into weekly, right? You could keep breaking it down. We know how many people we need to talk to. That's the thing that you want to focus on. Now we're going to talk about, and I think it was one of you said the differentiating yourself in the market, right? How do you differentiate yourself in the market? So we're going to talk about your marketing message and updating your marketing message. There are fundamentals of your marketing message. The first is the market. That's your who. Who are you speaking to, right? The second is your what. That's your message to those people that you're speaking to. And the third is the how, and that's the media that you're using to get your message in front of that first part that we talk about, the market. So in this, we need to identify who our ideal customer is. Take some time. I know a lot of times we think anyone that needs roofing is our customer, but that's not true, right? And you guys have to be able to take that in and say, man, this person is not a fit, right? Other things that happen early on, and speaking to the people that are more in that earlier phase, like, and you got to make a decision. Like, are we just going after this storm damage work right here in residential? Are we going after this storm damage work in residential, commercial? Are we going after one very specific market? Are we spreading ourselves around on this? There's different kind of factors in that. Are we going after a specific type of roofing system, right? Are we only going after asphalt shingle jobs? Are we going after metal, tile? What are we focused on? And in determining that, your ideal customer is going to be different in a lot of those regards. So we're going to start with what is called your customer avatar. You may have multiple customer avatars for your business, right? One may be a storm damage restoration client. One may be a retail client. One, a commercial maintenance plan avatar, commercial roof replacement avatar, new build avatar, right? There's a lot of different ways that you can look at this. So thinking about who is my perfect customer, how am I going to get to those jobs that I need? Now we're going to talk about their pains and frustrations, their fears, their goals, and their dreams and aspirations. We want to really understand these people, and this is how we're differentiating our conversation from the next guy. So this is, say a residential retail homeowner here. They're a homeowner. They're, usually 35 years of age or older. The decision maker is typically female, occasionally male. right? They're married, maybe 2 to 3 kids, had a household, $65,000 annual income or above. So your your customer avatar could be in a specific area, right? You can geographically determine, we want these jobs in this area, and that's who we want to speak to. They're family oriented, they're reliable, they're, easily frustrated. They expect good customer service. They like to please people and expect the same in return. They're not handy, right? Maybe they like gardening, crafts, things like that. They live in the suburbs in an upper middle class neighborhood. They take an interest in their community. Jen had mentioned that, hey, we need to get back into the community and start, maybe rebuilding our reputation. Those are those people that's your perfect customer. You're trying to get yourself in front of them. They have a pain or a frustration. Their roof is leaking. They can't get a roofing company on the phone or to return their phone call. That's a very common one, right? They need to get their roofing issue resolved. They're too busy to deal with it. They're worried that the situation could cause an unhealthy home, could cause more damage in their house. Their fears are being ripped off or overcharged, right? You guys face this on a day-to-day basis. Contractors have a bad reputation, right? They have a fear of paying too much for something that they could have gotten elsewhere for a better price, better value. They have a fear of having their home damaged by faulty workmanship. They have a fear of waiting around, waiting for you to show up for that inspection, waiting for your crews to get out and do the work, being inconvenienced, right? By trying to coordinate with you on when are we going to get this done? Jen was talking about those struggles right now, especially with the supply chain issues, with the storms that have happened. There's a lot of stuff. They don't want to be inconvenienced. They may cause, stuff may cause a disaster in their house, and it may end up being a bill they can't afford. No one wants to buy a roof. Let's all accept that, right? No one wants to buy a roof. They have goals and desires to get the roof fixed, have the issue behind them. But beyond that, they have a goal of having a well-kept home, taking care of their family, right? Having a better life, making more income, having a nicer home, driving a nicer car, keeping the kids healthy, going on a nice vacation, having the respect and approval of their friends, family, and relatives, right? Their neighbors, the keeping up with the Joneses, and having peace of mind that job is being completed and being completed well. So that's identifying your perfect customer. And we talk about this in a phrase that this kind of quote might be helpful for you to conceptualize this. If you can see through Joe Jones' eyes, then you can sell what Joe Jones buys, right? So you have to be able to see through their eyes and understand that communication with them and be able to communicate that message to them. So now that we've identified that, Cody, who would you say your perfect customer is?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I've had some success this year, I would say, through a spread of demographics.
Okay.
I'll be honest, Jim, I can't pinpoint one, just because it's kind of all over the board. I've had a lot of good customers this year, and probably not a lot of bad ones.
Yeah. Are you in more of a storm damage restoration market or retail?
So I'm in Monroe, Louisiana, which is northeast Louisiana. We've had a little hurricane work, some tornadoes, some hail damage, and so it's been okay.
Okay. So has most of your work been through the storm damage side then because of that storms, or do you work retail stuff too?
I would say no. The bulk of it's definitely been storm related.
Okay.
I would say 80-90% of the work that we do is insurance restoration work.
Okay. So when we're talking about a perfect customer in insurance restoration work, first thing is that they have damage, right? There is a part of that is that they've had damage. So sometimes the demographics change when you're going into these neighborhoods. but understanding your perfect customer, a
Sure,
lot of
it's gonna
people,
be-
some will do better. Some will do better. Some salespeople too will do better in different neighborhoods. So sometimes you have to think about yourself, right? Like, and say, man, I do better with this type of homeowner. You know, I know one of our clients, he loves that middle income, working class neighborhood, like loves it. He connects with people, he builds relationships. It's part of what he does. Then we have others that are like, I want those houses over there, the 5,000 square foot, you know, brick exterior, you know what I mean? Like that's where they connect with, who they connect with and communicate with best. So sometimes you could figure that out, right? And then you could target those areas. Not that you don't have to do jobs in the other areas, but you can at least develop your messaging to the people that you want to serve best. Hopefully that's helpful. Alex, man, what's up? We're a little bit into it, but
Hey, how's it going?
good, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, glad to be
All
here.
right. So now we talked about that, right? We talked about the market. So really, you know, a lot of times it is a little bit hard, but think about it. Think about it in terms of like if it's a storm damage restoration client, and really think of those pains and frustrations that they're feeling, and how to speak to that, right? So now we're going to talk about your message. And it's, you know, kind of in a basic form, it's why should someone choose to do business with you versus the competition? What benefits do you offer your target customer avatar that will resonate with them, right? So really communicating that. You know, some of the common ones in our industry are, you know, free inspections, free estimates. It does work, right? Because these people aren't in the market for roofs all the time. So they don't, it's not like they are bombarded with the free inspection, free estimate offer because they're not paying attention to it until it's time to pay attention to it. So it does still work, but you could take it a little bit further. You know, one of our clients is training all their salespeople on a certain X number point inspection, and they're going to provide them with like this really nice report of their roof, right? So it's not just a free inspection. It's a free inspection with a 32 point inspection that you're going to get this beautiful report on that you can use into the future. One of the fears of people is always pricing, right? So speaking about your pricing upfront, straightforward, those types of things. Satisfaction guaranteed, easing their fear of having something go wrong, right? One of the, you know, great warranties, that's kind of part of the satisfaction guaranteed. It sounds like a lot of you are in storm damage restoration markets. I want to ask each and every one of you, if you don't, do you offer a lifetime workmanship warranty? Anyone do that? Raise your hand. Ian?
Yep.
Especially if you're in a storm damage market, why wouldn't you? Right? Most of the time, that roof is going to be replaced again because of storm damage. You want them to call you or the next person? They have a warranty with you, right? Now, of course, your warranty does not cover storm damage, right? It's not acts of God, right? There's not like we're not replacing your roof for free because of, you know, hail falling, but hey, it's just the cost of your deductible now again, right? We're there for you. Again, that's one that I think is very powerful. You know, being local to the area, people love, you know, Cody, being local to your area. A lot of people have come into your market, right? Caleb's right around the corner from you. He's down the street. He came in from what, Florida? He's trying to, you know, there's a lot of people coming to Louisiana right now, right? Like they're all over. So being local to the area, speaking that local language, right? That's part of that messaging that you can put in that works. Sorry, Caleb, you know, Cody's going to get you on that one, but, but you could say, we moved to the area to help you, you know?
I'm actually a Baton Rouge. I'm a Baton Rouge native. I was born
Oh, are
here.
you?
I have family. I have
Oh,
family all
nice,
throughout
man.
southern Louisiana, and I'm
Nice.
very happy to be back and provide a service to these people that I care.
See, that's that messaging, right? I came back to help you guys, right? I built up my experience over here in this, you know, in this other state. I saw the tragedy that was happening in our area. I'm here to help, right? That connects with people, man. Like that's powerful stuff. Telling that story that you are a native and you know, those are important. And then the financing options, of course, not in storm damage restoration, but you know, sometimes it's the, you know, the stuff like funding, you know, that what's the you know, financing the deductible for some people, you know, even the deductible is out of range for some folks, right? So financing options is a big thing. People don't want to buy a roof. Remember that. They don't want to pay for that. They don't want to write that check, even if it's just a deductible check. You know, if you can make the case of having, you know, a fast, you know, same day, hey, you call us, you have us, you see shingles on the ground in your yard. Hey, we'll be out there 24 hours. We'll get you that inspection. We'll make sure that everything is, you know, that you're not going to get further damage because of what's happening in your area. Money saving offers are always something that people, you know, will respond to. Talking about how your you know, your process on production day, right? When you're building the roof, you know, or, you know, maybe you're using, you know, you're using the catch-alls or the, you know, how you're doing your demo and things like that, and how you're going to leave their job site squeaky clean. You know, you got your magnets out and you know, things like that. You can talk to them about that you're experienced, you have a proven track record, you know, and just really guaranteeing great service and great communication. So what kind of message can you guys think of offhand? What's something unique? Like we kind of went through it with Caleb. Hey, I'm local to the area, I'm from here, came back here. Cody, what kind of things come to your mind after seeing that stuff?
As far as how we stand out over the competition?
Yeah, what kind of things can you communicate to those people in your market? Your message.
Two things come to mind. We use Xactimate. It's the same estimating software most insurance companies use. So therefore, when we're talking with the adjuster, kind of going back and forth the line items, we're making sure that customer has the proper scope of work, making sure that customer, that homeowner is getting paid out properly the amount. Also,
so here's a great one, man. I like that because everyone else on this call is like, yeah, Xactimate, of course, right? Like, yeah, of course you use Xactimate, right? That's how you know, that's how you get your line items. That's how you do your supplementing properly, right? But homeowners don't know that. One of my favorite marketing stories is of Schlitz beer. In the early 1900s, they were like the eighth biggest brewery in the nation, right? Like in the 1920s or something like that. They bring in this marketing guy. He does a tour of their brewery, and the brew, you know, the brewmaster's showing him around. Hey, we use these, you know, we put everything in these stainless steel tanks, and the water comes in from that spring over there. And he's just walking through like nonchalantly that this is what we do, right? Like this is just how beer's made. This marketing guy comes up with the, you know, fresh spring water and, you know, the way that it was brewed and the, you know, hops and the, like, it's just the things that sometimes the things that we do on a day-to-day basis that we think are normal, we can accentuate in our marketing. So thanks for that one, Cody, right? And they went from number 8 to like number 2 in like 5 years because they just explained what they were doing. It's the same thing that's how beer's made. They use this water, they put it in, right? But explaining the process, and because you explain that process, it looks like you do things in much more detail than the next company. Does that make sense, guys? Anyone else have ideas?
Yeah, I do pitch that we have a lifetime workmanship warranty. I always say, hey, if the manufacturer can back their product up that long, why can't I? It's only as good as the install anyway, so why can't I back it up that long?
Yep. It's a great message, right? And I promise you, you're not going to go back many times, right? You're not, this isn't here's the thing with guarantees and warranties and things like that. When you're making offers to your customers, it's making the offer so big that, so Ian will probably get, say, 20% more homeowners will go with him because he has that. We'll just make up a number right now, right? So he gets 20% more jobs from having that offer. 2% over the course of its lifetime, will you ever have to go out and do that, right? So
Yeah.
like, you know, if you do the math, and I'm making up numbers here, so, you know, that's not exact, but if you think about it that way, like, hey, we guarantee this completely, the amount of times you'll have to go back because of that. And then if you do have to go back, and it's another chance to build that relationship even stronger and make
Yeah,
a better.
they actually like to see, but even if you do have a warranty you have to take care of, how you handle that warranty can speak volumes as well.
For sure. For sure. Awesome. We're going to keep moving here. Now we can look at media, right? Now, how do we get this message in front of these people? So for us, your hub of all of your digital marketing efforts is your website, right? When, you know, for SEO purposes, that's going to get you showing up in your area. It helps with the rankings of your Google My Business listing. There's people, when they're making a decision to buy from you, a lot of them are going to go to your website. They're going to go read your reviews on Google, on Facebook, on Angie's List, right? They're going to go read your reviews everywhere, and then they're going to go look at your website. So you want to make that good impression and have the right messaging, and make sure that your website is set up to convert. So the first thing is to make sure that your website is set up to convert visitors into callers. So in that, has to be mobile friendly. We have to have calls to action in the upper right-hand corner for a phone number, schedule free estimate buttons, a couple of places. You want to be building trust, bringing out the authenticity of your brand, and speaking to those fears of your perfect customer. Hey, are you experienced, licensed, insured? You know, best in warrant industries in the best in the industry warranties, no money down financing, right? All of those things that we're talking about with the messaging that we created, getting that out to them. And what that does is it really impacts that lead conversion rate. So the people that are willing to make that phone call to you or sign that contract, right? After they see that, it makes a huge impact. So this is kind of the simple version. I'm gonna walk through it a little bit quickly, but making sure that your website is speaking to your target customer. If you have different sections of your website, residential, commercial, the language in those may be different to speak to those avatars. On a metal roofing page, it may have a different language, right? Speaking to that avatar. Having authentic images. If you have video, putting video on there. Showcasing your online reviews. You know, people trust an online review as much as a recommendation from a friend or family member. That's insane to me, but I do too. So does it make it easier for them to take action? Never play hide and seek with your phone number, right? Make sure that phone number is easily displayed where they can make it clickable so that they can call from if they're on their phone. That goes in the upper right-hand corner. Ensure there's a web form that people can fill out, add credibility symbols, calls to actions, always asking them for what we want them to do. Schedule a free inspection, schedule a free estimate, get a quote, any of those types of things. Giving them the opportunity to engage on chat and leveraging marketing automation. So thinking of your websites, just put some, you know, think of your website. Is it built to convert, right? Based on those factors. And now thinking of those factors, what 3 things could you implement? Just write down 3 things that you could maybe adjust or add to the website that might help with that. Someone in chat here. All right, that's Alex. So again, actions, right? And they could be small actions. If you think about, you know, that the long journey, just making slight changes in course, they may not seem big today or a month from now or 2 months from now, but 5 years from now, these little changes that you make huge, huge impacts, right? So then we'll talk a little bit about the biggest challenge that I see facing roofing companies, and that's unconverted leads, right? Leads come in, you missed the phone call, they filled out a form on the website, no one called them back for a couple hours, or, you know, they message you on Facebook, and you know, 2 days later, you're looking at your Facebook and you're like, oh man, I got a message from this person. So 50 to 60% of inbound leads end up unconverted, and 90% of web form leads fail to convert. It's a huge number, right? So leads that are not followed up within 15 minutes go cold. I would even say that it's more like 5 minutes. The average customer must be followed up with 5 to 7 times. I wish I could show you this thread on my phone. The average customer must be followed up with 5 to 7 times. Today's customers prefer to interact via text, phone numbers, or phone, things like that. You need to leverage marketing automation to do this follow-up. There's marketing automation that is that's available to you. Automate the follow-up process so there's the prospect is touched 5+ times and you're able to engage them in text, email, and phone calls. This is kind of the flow chart of what that looks like. So somebody comes in from Google local service ads, Google ads, a Facebook ad, a home advisor lead, whatever it is. They fill out a form on your website. Immediately that sends them an email, a text message, maybe generates a phone call to your company. Our system generates a phone call to you when they hit submit on the form. When you pick up, it says you have a new web form lead, press 1 to connect. You press 1 and it does a dial on the phone number that they put in the form. So if they're not at work surfing the web, you know, if they're available and they answer the phone, you're on the phone with them in like 20 seconds. If they don't answer the phone, now we're sending them a text message and then an email and then another, you know, if they don't respond to that, you know, an hour later, we send them more text messages and more emails. And in doing this, you're really in those additional touch points is where the lead conversion rates really increase. And I know that this is kind of a crazy example, but I put it on here to accentuate the idea, right? If you had 100 leads at a 30% conversion rate, 30 book jobs, $10,000, you know, $300,000, $300,000 in revenue. If you converted, if that conversion rate went up to 70%, which is outrageous, but if it went up to 70%, that's $700,000 in revenue. It looks like there's math wrong on the slides here. I got to go in and fix, but that's a huge increase. But even if you could change it from your 17%, Caleb, to 25%, right? If you can change it from 25% to 32%, it's money, right? There's money in the bank. So making sure that all of these things are happening in your business to increase those chances, because it will make every lead that you generate more valuable. So I know I kind of went through that fairly quickly, but any comments on that? What did you kind of get from that or notice there?
Did I have a lot of work to do?
Ain't that the
Agree.
truth? We always have a lot of work to do. Jen's like, oh my goodness, what did you do to me here? Right? Like,
Well, Yeah.
that's the fun part of this. Like, it's a fun part of business if you're in ownership or just, as part of the leadership team or getting to interact or getting to develop things like this in a business. It's exciting. This is a mindset thing for you guys. I believe everything gets done in phases, right? Phase 1, do something. Phase 2, do something a little better. Phase 3, do something a little better than that, right? But phase 1 is what?
Do it.
Do something, right? Just do something, right? Do something. Like, find a way to get those, to just focus on one thing. Hey, we're going to make sure that the phone is answered every time during business hours, right? Like 3 rings or whatever, right? We're focusing on one big thing that will make a big impact. Then you focus on another thing and just keep adding to it.
I have a
So now,
question,
yeah, go ahead.
if it's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So one of my favorite lines from the sales guys is, well, I called them and I say, okay, great. They also have an email in there. Did you email? No, but I called and left a message.
I called and left a message. It's on
I'm
them
like,
now. It's on them.
yeah,
Yeah, of course.
exactly. Yes. And
If they
so,
need my help, they'll reach out.
yes. And so, yeah, that's something I'm trying to communicate from a marketing perspective and lead perspective to the sales team. And so that's
Got this.
something we run into a lot. And you were mentioning automated. Are there certain systems or apps that you could suggest to help with that?
Yeah, we actually have one launching here in Q1 of 2022. It's called Contractor Boost. It will solve a lot of these issues, but just from an easier standpoint right now, like what CRM do you guys use? Job Nimbus or AccuLinks or
AccuLinks.
AccuLinks?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't think AccuLinks doesn't have any kind of autoresponder stuff like that. Do the forms from like your website or Facebook ads go directly into AccuLinks, or do they just get emailed to you guys?
Emailed currently.
Right? So really you're going to have to, where are the leads coming from? Are they coming from a lead aggregator like Home Advisor or something like that? Or are they coming in from like your website?
Website.
Okay, there's one thing that we use that we're transitioning from, and that's call tracking metrics. It's a good call tracking system to use, and they have a functionality in there called a form reactor, and that form reactor gets hooked up to that website, to that web form that you have on your website, and that's what generates that initial phone call. So that in itself like takes care of a lot of it. What we're building out with Contractor Boost takes it the steps further, where then if they don't answer, it sends them a text message and an email and continues that conversation beyond just that initial phone call. So
Okay.
but again, doing something, right? CallRail and call tracking metrics, 2 of the biggest call tracking systems out there, both have a form reaction software in it that you can utilize in that.
Okay.
Now let's talk about those salespeople. And it's a good time because we're talking about KPIs, right? Key performance indicators. What are you tracking, right? What are you tracking? So when those leads come in, you want to be tracking the number of times that they have reached out to these people. If I tell you that it takes 5 to 7 touch points to get that person on the phone and get that home visit scheduled, then you make a KPI around that in your business, right? So now a lead form comes in. Was it communicated with? Was it touched? Was this lead touched 5 to 7 times? And you set that KPI. Set that KPI for your salesperson. When you get a lead, you are responsible for 3 phone calls, 2 text messages, and 3 emails, right? Or whatever that's 8, right? You are responsible for this. And maybe you can create a financial incentive on the other side of that. Or, hey, this is part of your job. If you're not doing this, you're not doing your job, right? Like we're spending money on marketing and you're not calling these people back multiple times. Like, no, you're not doing your job, right? Like, so building out in your KPIs saying, hey, look, you want leads from us, right? You want us to hand you over someone that submitted a form on the website and you want to make commission on that, but you only want to make one phone call? Wrong expectation. Sorry. This is what you have to do. This is a sales process, right? There's a sales process here. So, things like that you might be able to want to think of, right? So now we'll talk about those KPIs, right? From a digital marketing perspective, you're really tracking the sources of all of these calls. Did it come from Google Organic, Google My Business, Facebook? We get down and track even like the ads that we're running on Facebook and how many leads were generated from each ad. And, we get very granular on that, but then that's helping you, determine where your ad spend is really getting the best ROI. So setting up, even if you just do this in an Excel spreadsheet, right? Phase 1, do something, right? Take some time once a month. You go into your Google My Business dashboard. You look at how many calls came in. You go to, you just go through everything and work those backwards, enter them in and things like that. That's kind of that. And then if you can install call tracking and have a different number on your Google My Business listing, a different number on your website, a different number on your Facebook ads, a different number on your Google ads, then you can definitely know where that call came from. Heck, you could have a different number on your signs. Now you know if it's a sign call, right? You could put out, if you have door hangers or mailers or stuff like that, you could put a call tracking number on that and know exactly, hey man, this mailer that we did is performing really well, or this didn't perform really well. We didn't get calls from that, but so you can really get clarity around that, right? So far we talked about your goals, your market, your media, your message, your media, making sure that hub is converting, built to convert, setting up those KPIs. Any questions on setting up KPIs? I know we didn't go and get into a whole lot of detail, but it's really as simple as tracking where everything is coming from and making sure that's that you're paying attention, I guess. No questions there? Cool. All right. So let's move on to some of the key trends for 2022.
There's a question in the chat.
Oh, there's a question in the chat. All right.
Sorry, I
Do we
didn't.
call?
I
Yep.
didn't want
Hey, no problem. No problem, Michael.
Okay.
So do we call 5 to 7 times in the same day? No. So usually, and it depends on the way that we have our automations, our workflows structured. We're always seeing if we're within business hours. So like, let's say they call early in the morning hours when you're open, right? Then they get that automated call goes out to you guys. Let's say they don't answer. Then 1 minute later, they'll get a text message and an email. I think it's 10 to 15 minutes after that, we'll send another text message. And then like a half an hour after that. So there is like 4 or 5 touch points. It could be 5 touch points in the same day. When we get to those 7s, it probably crosses over into the next day or so. And you could continue it. There's like an unlimited amount, right? Like if these people don't pick up, you could just send them an email every 15 days that, you know what I mean? A text message and an email. Hey, haven't heard from you. Hey, haven't heard from you. Until you say stop, I'm going to keep sending these, right? Or you keep calling them. So until they say stop. But so it can happen in one day. That first half hour, man, that's where you really want to be hot, right? But then as you go from there, as you move on, you're starting to space out those communications. that helpful, Michael?
Yes, yes, thank you. I was also, I apologize, I didn't want to interrupt your speaking.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
was wondering, do you use any specific auto dialer? For example, we use a thing called High Level.
Yeah, go high level. Yeah, if you use go high level, you can set these all up in workflows, right?
I'm not the technician on that, but I'm not the IT guy. But someone out there is. But we know that that has a opportunity to record the things. And yes, you can have some automations and stuff like that in it, but it just really depends on who sets it up. And I've never been one that set it up. But other than that, do you have any sort of
So if you use go high level, are you an agency?
No, I'm a contractor.
Oh, okay. How'd you get go high level?
Well, I've hired guys like you.
Okay.
It comes in a package of with that. I mean, most marketers come with that sort of form of.
That's right. Yep. Yeah.
But,
so all of that gets set up in work. It's called they're called workflows in go high level. So you could talk to your the company you work with, and on that say, hey, we want a workflow set up for a form submission on our website, or we want a workflow set up for our Google pay-per-click campaigns. We want to work. And if they're not doing that for you and they're providing you high level, they're not I shouldn't say that. Probably not the right company to be doing that with if they're making you set all that stuff up or tell them that you need it. So,
right, yeah.
Sorry, my little I get to poke. You get to poke a little bit.
No, which is cool. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm actually on this is because there was. Never mind. I'll get into that aftermath.
Yep. Feel free to reach out to me. We can have a phone call.
I am curious about the auto dialer thing. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, it's built right in. It's built right into that system.
Oh, really? Where it would automatically just call the people without you.
When a form submission comes in, anything with a phone number comes in through that system. And the system that he's referring to is a very sophisticated software that's out there. It's available to digital agencies, to marketing agencies. It's not available to a contractor. But it's a very sophisticated piece of software that can do a whole lot of fun stuff. And that's one of the things. That is one of the functions that it can do. It's I can't remember what the name of it is in their system, like what the verbiage is, but it's like call initiation or something like that, right? And you initiate calls, so then a form comes in and it does that auto call to you. So that's all in that. I know that software, and that functionality is there. So
interesting.
Yep.
Okay. I wasn't aware.
And feel free, man. You can give me a call or something, or Nikki can set something up with you, and I could talk to you about that a little bit more, and I could show you what that is. So
okay,
be happy to do that.
I appreciate that.
All right. So Alex has a question. What's a good cost per lead on Google pay-per-click that contractors should expect to start off with, assuming that they're working with a good company and in a competitive market with a budget, because budgets matter in pay-per-click? 250 to 350 plus. I know it varies on the business breakpoint, things like that. Yeah, it does vary. You guys are in Minneapolis, it's 250, 350, right? You could probably average about $300 per call on pay-per-click. That's a good way to average it out in that. Now, there are different ways of running pay-per-click advertising. So sometimes if campaigns aren't set up properly, those calls may be for a competitor of yours. That's the most common thing that you'll see in pay-per-click, because the way you bid on roofing keywords and AdWords, the way that Google's ad structure is built, a lot of company names include the words roofing company, roofing contractor, things like that. So sometimes people will be typing in a company name and that includes roofing, and then that shows up with your Google pay-per-click, so you're getting calls from other people. So you want to make sure that the calls that are coming in for that 250, 350 in a major metropolitan area, that's probably a good range. But in that they're looking for a solution, not another company. And I don't know if that's happening to you or not, but but that's about the range. Google pay-per-click is the most expensive way to make your phone ring in digital marketing. Just so you guys know, add that as a note to all of the things you do. If there's a company out there that's like, Google pay-per-click's the cheapest thing, man, let's just still go do Google pay-per-click. No, it's the most expensive.
I have a quick question on that. I hear,
Yeah, man.
I do know it's the most expensive. I also hear it's the most efficient if done right. What are your thoughts on that? Just because of
So Google local service ads are just as efficient. It is efficient in the way that you can target the keywords that you're really with people with commercial intent. So there's benefits, there's advantages and disadvantages to every type of digital marketing. So Google local service ads, great cost per lead, right? You can dispute the leads very easily through Google. They'll give you your money back pretty easily if it's a bad call. High quality, similar to pay-per-click, high quality, high intent in that lead, but it's 40 to 60 bucks, right? Google pay-per-click, on the other hand, or Google local service ads, the disadvantage there is that there's not a lot of volume, right? You may get 5 calls or 10 calls in a month. You may get 15, 20, depending on what's going on in your market and how well you're running your Google local service ads and participating in the dashboard. But Google pay-per-click can be extremely targeted. So that's the advantage of it. The disadvantage of it is that it's more expensive, right? Ian said his experience as Home Advisor is the most expensive. Home Advisors that is a truth also, right? Because the $130 you spent, another 5 people spent $130 on that too. So
well, I mean, I'm also, my office is in the backyard, literally across the street from Home Advisor headquarters.
Oh, really?
So it's tough. They're my number 1 competitor.
Man. So back to kind of your thing, Alex, is it's really like, it can be very targeted for sure. If done right, it's very well targeted. So yes, if done right, those calls are usually higher quality, right? But they're more expensive. So my thing, I like to say this, the best company owners that I talk to, from the people that I know in the industry that are the most successful, people that I have on my podcast and things, the best companies have an understanding of turning one into many, right? That Google ad that call may cost you $250. Let's say it costs you $350. Let's say you have a 25% close rate on those, right? That's a lot of money to pay for that customer, right? We're talking about what, $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 to acquire that customer. And I'm just, I don't know what your conversion rates will be, but let's say, would you be willing first, Alex, to pay $1,400 for a customer?
Yeah, I think it depends on the customer. If it's metal roof, yeah, we'll pay that all day.
Yeah. So even if it's asphalt shingle, you probably wouldn't make money on that job if you paid $1,400 for a customer, right? Net profit.
Yeah, it wouldn't be much. We make some, but it wouldn't be as much. We don't have subs, so that helps us.
Yeah, for sure. So now you can pay $1,400 for that customer, but it's expensive, right? Now you're not really making money on that job. So the question comes into play when you're dealing with these higher lead cost kind of platforms is, can you turn that one into many? Can you get the neighbors? Can you get 1 or 2 of the neighbors also if you get that one person? Will they refer you to a friend or family member? Even if it's a year from now, right? Like even if they refer you a job a year from now you got that job from that, right? So sometimes you have to have a long-term thought process on this, right? In how that turns over. So Ian said from his experience, Home Advisor is most expensive. Jen says Home Advisor does not work for us at all. Depends on the geographer and the salespeople, man. You got to have a sales process if you do Home Advisor. Claudia received about 12 leads from Angie and have been only able to contact 1. with a small repair. It's tough, man. It's there's a lot of challenges. So Caleb asked if there's any door knockers in the room. Who's boots and knuckles?
I'm going to be starting that next year pretty
Boots
religiously.
and knuckles, man. I'm telling you, that's the fastest way to a job, boots and knuckles. So
The
hopefully
hardest
that
thing-
was helpful, Alex, but you're in the right range there for sure. And we'll be seeing you on very soon in the Pitch Pro movement, right? I'll be over there answering more questions, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. All right. So key trends. We really focus on an all-in perspective, omnipresence, right? Doing all of these things because that's what generates consistent lead flow. You don't know if you're going to pick someone up off of Facebook, off of your local service ad, off of pay-per-click, off of SEO. Doing a lot of things is going to, that all-in perspective, knocking doors, if you're sending direct mail, if you're buying leads from lead aggregators, like all of that. And so the other part of it, guys, and this is what, I don't know if Caleb has done it yet, man, his homework, he had homework from the last one we were on here, but video, more video, right? Video is what people are interacting with. The companies that do video, shoot video, doesn't have to be a super planned production thing. You could go back to my last webinar. It's on YouTube. Watch the replay about content creation for roofing contractors. This is a weapon in your sales process right now. This is a weapon. You can really build an audience and a following and trust in your market just through your cell phone and pulling it out. Artificial intelligence is a big thing that's changing. Facebook keeps taking away targeting options from us. We used to be able to take that perfect customer avatar and like upload it into Facebook. Like it was crazy. Like we could be like, oh, we want homeowners in this specific area that are this age with this income and who subscribe to are like the Better Home and Garden Facebook page and are like and the Mercedes Facebook page, and we could like really like we'll put ads in front of those people. Not anymore. They've taken all of that away from us. So what we have to use is their artificial intelligence. So we have to put an ad out there, get interaction on that ad, and then adjust where we want that ad to be shown in Facebook. So it's really using artificial intelligence. On the pay-per-click side, man, that is changing. Like essentially, I started in programming. I was a server-side programmer, so I wrote code. And in writing code, we used to call it garbage in, garbage out, or it's still called garbage in, garbage out. But that's what these platforms are going to. Facebook ads, Google ads. It's really about how you can feed them information about that conversion. So Alex, when you get a conversion from pay-per-click, you're taking that data and getting it back into Google, right? This was the closed sale amount on this specific conversion, on this specific ad, from this specific ad group, on this specific keyword, on this specific date. And when you're able to feed that data back, Google's artificial intelligence can now better find that next conversion. And it's a crazy thing, but artificial intelligence is what all of these platforms are going to, and it's more machine learning, artificial intelligence. So, build your 2022 plan. We could, we'll continue to talk as we go along. I'll skip through these real quick because, we have great results. Alex knows prominent in our area. A lot of our companies that we work with are very successful. I don't need to show these off. Let's talk about you guys again. What are your top 3 internet marketing initiatives that you need to implement to hit your goal? So let's start with you, Ian.
I was I've been thinking a lot about this these last month or so, and I wanted to, just based on where my leads are coming in, my close percentage on those leads, the amount that I'm paying per lead, acquisition cost rather, I was actually going to start going towards pay-per-click.
Okay.
LSA, I've been doing LSA, and that's good. I just feel like it's super saturated right now. Like it's gotten extremely saturated, and so I can tell them like I'm willing to pay $3,000 for a lead, and I don't pay anything. I don't get a lead. It's just too saturated. So I was Facebook again. Like ads on Facebook didn't really work for me. It was more or less just my clients sharing my information with their Facebook neighborhood groups.
That's a good one,
So
man.
my biggest thing is Google pay-per-click. I'm going to keep my GLSA up because it does work a little bit, and just network with some networking, businesses and such.
How are your reviews on your Google My Business listing?
I've got 5 stars on every platform.
How many reviews do you have on Google?
I only have like 22. Not many.
So look at the competition within a couple of miles of you, and look in the maps section and look at what the more competitive companies that are showing up in there. My suggestion to you, look at those and make a goal for that amount of reviews. If they're all around 70, 80, you get to 70, 80, right? If they're in 100, 150, you got to set that goal and really, really target that. So I would add that to that, because that's going to give the social proof that you'll need to go along with the other things that you're talking about implementing.
Yeah. So I've actually developed a really good and efficient way to get reviews for my clients.
Nice.
It's like a 90% of the time I get a review.
Awesome.
It's just I don't have that many clients. I'm having a hard time getting leads into that funnel to come down. Once they come through, I can get the review, no problem. But it's getting the leads.
Awesome, man. Cody, what do you think? What are the couple of things you're going to implement?
Man, it's all been really good today. I appreciate the info. I'm just gonna do something because I got into this world February of this year.
Okay.
And so I'm super green, but I'm learning, and so I'm just gonna start doing something. We actually hired a girl a few months ago to build us she's working on our website, and she's going to start managing our Facebook page. And so just doing something in 2022 is going to be helpful.
Feel free to send her to our YouTube channel. I have a lot of these webinars, replays of all these webinars, how to optimize your website, in more detail, how to do, some fundamentals of SEO, pay-per-click management. If you're looking at that, Ian, there's videos on that, full hour-long presentations on that too. So more detail on that. So feel free to send her over there.
Also,
Caleb, what are you doing, brother?
My turn.
Your turn.
All right. First, I'm going to initiate a fail-proof follow-up process. The banter in the office lately has been after like 2 or 3 phone calls, text messages, or whatever. Now, are we harassing the customer? Are we like, is it too much? So this 5 to 7 touches per customer number is really opening my eyes. And I'm going to choose a process that follows up without me sitting down for an hour crafting a novel of an email.
Yeah.
Number 2, I'm going to improve our hub, our website, with some of the implementing some of the suggestions that you made. I have a marketing firm that I've committed a certain amount of resources to, and they tell me the exact same things several times a week. So I'm gonna do that. Number 3, I'm creating a content, a social media platform content calendar, and I already have at least 2 people that have committed to contributing to creating and scheduling the content within that calendar. So that way, we have a plan on paper with real numbers and words that will result in actual action, you know. So those are my top 3 initiatives as of right now. Thank you.
Cool. Jen?
Wow, lots of good stuff. I think for me, knowing the numbers right off the bat and, you know, getting those to where I know them in my head and on paper. And secondly, I think teaming up with our sales team and going over the training, the values of the leads, value of referral, and going through the 5 to 7 contact tries or contact points, touch points, going over that with them and really getting them to understand the value of each lead, because I don't think they understand that. So those 2 things. And the third one, you know, just getting our reviews up. We went through a crazy busy time, and you know, a lot of people just didn't send reviews, and part of that was because of gutter supply storage shortage and things like that. And so then it delays the whole roofing process, and therefore it also delayed the reviews because, you know, it could be a couple months after that they get their gutters and we close the job out. And so I've lost all that interaction time with the customer, and, you know, they're less apt to make a review, you know, 2 months after their roof gets replaced, you know. So yeah, lots of work to do.
Yeah. Alex, what do you think, man? I know you came on a little late, but
Yeah, I think one of our biggest things going into next year is going to be kind of like how you mentioned, the omni-channel, just being consistent on every platform. Something that we did this year is we were trying to be on every platform minus Google paid per clicks, but there were some times we weren't on it consistently. And I think going into next year, we're just going to stick with the budget, you know, where the results are coming. Especially, like, I think what happened too is, you know, once we get really busy, we tend to forget about it.
That's
And I
what
feel like
happens, man.
that's when we need to double down more than anything, you know, so people can really know who
Exactly.
we are. So I think our big thing next year is just going to be tracking everything, you know, tracking how much we're spending on every platform, measuring our results, so that way, you know, we can really figure out what's working and double down on and what's not to dive deeper. You know, because yeah, you know, we're really trying to grow fast next year. You know, we had a pretty good season this year, but we're trying to, you know, add fuel to the fire.
Nice. Here's a tip for everyone with local service ads. In your local service ads account, make sure you go in there, make sure you're dispositioning your leads properly. So when you get a new lead that comes in, first thing is you make sure that the phone is answered or the message is communicated with. If they send you a message, you got to communicate quickly. If you book a home visit, if you book an inspection or an estimate, move that lead to booked. If you go to your reports, and everyone go into your Google local service ads, go into reports, and it will have a booking rate. Google is tracking your booking rate. So if what Ian said is you could put a budget of $3,000 per lead, they're not going to give it to you. Yeah, they're looking at other things. They're looking at how many of these you're booking and closing out. So they're tracking that. So make sure that you're participating in that dashboard and dispositioning those leads properly. You will see an uptick in those leads in that regard. So, no, Maren, we haven't heard from you much, but you're on camera now. So no microphone, I'm guessing, since you're typing. No problem. All right, cool. Well, we'll move on. So today we've talked about, you know, setting your goals, 3 fundamentals of the marketing success process, really how to optimize your website for conversion, getting that hub optimized, that communication optimized, the big picture of all the channels you could be tapping into to maximize your lead flow, our first principle, maximizing your lead flow. Some latest trends that you can be focusing on, video, and omnipresence, right? Doing things consistently in all of these areas, developing a custom plan of where you need to be. Be happy to answer any questions for you guys. I'll stick around for a little bit. If you haven't already, check out the Roofing Success Podcast on your favorite network. on YouTube if you want to watch the videos. I'm excited, man. 2022 is going to be a great year. We've got a lot of exciting things coming up. I'm going to be able to help a lot more people, not just through these webinar series, but I think Alex knows now that we're going to be more involved in the Pitch Pro movement. You know, we're doing a lot of stuff with ICO. There's one of the CRMs, I can't announce it yet, but one of the CRMs, we're going to be doing a big education series with all of their clients. So be able to really, really hopefully impact the industry even further. So any questions, feel free to shoot them out. I got some time here to stick around. I got about 20 minutes. So
Quick question. So on the Google local services thing,
Yep.
we've been going into it, you know, I remember you mentioning that, cleaning it up. Is that just the best way to go about it? You know, like just clean up all, like archive all the ones that you can't remember about, book
That's
the
right.
ones that you remember recently. And then hopefully if you're consistent with that, you'll start getting more. Cause yeah, like people say, man, we put our budget so high on there that
it doesn't
you
matter.
know, it doesn't even
So
matter.
here's the thing, Google's overall kind of their overall goal is to provide the searcher with the best user experience. So very simply, is it the best user experience if you didn't answer your phone? No, right? Or if you didn't message someone back, it's not the best user experience. The other ways that Google will be able to measure if you're providing a good user experience is that booking rate, right? How many of these leads that you got, how many of them came into and chose to have you come out to their house, right? And do an inspection. That's a measurable thing. And then how many of those did you close? Because if no one hired you, it might not be the best user experience. We might not want to send them over there anymore, right? So your impression share will lessen in that regard, right? So if you think about it just from that macro level, make sure that you're doing that. And there's a way to request reviews from those customers also. So make sure that you request the reviews from those customers that you did do closed jobs for through that system. Because if they provide you with a 5-star review, again, it's another indication to Google. Oh man, these guys did a good job. Let's show them to more people. So Google doesn't need your money. It likes your money, but it doesn't need your money.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. I'll definitely do that. And I guess my last question really quick on this is there any platform you recommend aside from Hatch, maybe a more affordable platform that's good for kind of like that? You know, we're looking for a system that like if we get a lead, you know, whether it's through Facebook or our website, that we can send like a quick text like, hey, you know, this is Level Edge, you know, we're here to, you know, schedule an appointment.
Yeah. Hatch does that. I think Call Tracking Metrics does it. I think CallRail can do that now too. Send an initial text message. Like it can't do the like multiple follow-ups. What was the other one? Hatch you had mentioned, right? Hatch is one of them.
Yeah, Hatch, I want a little more affordable one. Hatch seems a little out of our budget.
A little clunky or something. I'll shoot you one. One of our latest clients, they're using one, and it's not Hatch, it's something else. But I'll shoot that to you when I get a chance. I'll remind me if I don't. So,
Is it Porch?
it wasn't Porch. Man, I'm trying to think of what it was. Let's see if I can find it quick. There's so many softwares out there that do things like this now. I'll have to check, man. I'm not sure. I can't find it right now. Let's see. Someone put some stuff in the question. Does anyone use Thumbtack? Any feedback? Any feedback on? You could drop that in the chat there. Port seems to lack communication. I'd prefer. Sorry, I mean Thumbtack. Okay, Thumbtack. Michael Anthony, go for it, man. You have a quick question? Go ahead.
Okay,
unmute,
yeah,
man.
you were mentioning videos and things like that. In regards to the videos and how that is somewhat newer, is that regarding Facebook ads? What exactly video content are you referring to?
So yeah, video for social media, video for all of your social media platforms. And I mean, you could go into, you know, the thing about it, once you start creating content, and you create essentially a library of content, you can use that on whatever platform is available, right? So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, right? Like all these different platforms. So it's creating content on an ongoing basis. Go back to, if you go to our YouTube channel and review that last one, you'll see I have a framework of like things to talk about and different and stuff like that, and how to shoot those videos. That might be helpful for you. But mainly for social media, but you can use them in a lot of different ways. Let's say you have an email going out after you schedule a job. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Homeowner, you're on the schedule for Thursday, the 12th. Check out this video about what to expect when we're coming there. Now that's going out in an email, right? But that video can also go out on your Facebook feed. Hey, this is what to expect when we do your job, right? Or what, like, so you can use it, you can use that in multiple ways. And that's the power of content, is building up as many ways to use it as possible. So repurposing is the word that I want you to get in your head when you're thinking about content creation and video creation. Is that helpful?
Yeah. I was just wondering,
Bit
is
of a
that something
tangent.
that you guys do within your marketing programs, within your lead service?
We have partnerships with like real professional videographers that do like full on years worth of content type of campaigns and all kinds of stuff. So we have those resources. Yes.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, so I'm always curious, is it, a 60-second clip, 10-second clip, 5? Because a lot of people are, they say don't ever have a video that's longer than, a couple seconds, because people,
So you need to capture their attention in the first 3 seconds.
Mhm.
But the video needs to be as long as it takes to explain what you're talking about.
Got it.
Right? How do you explain, how do you explain what to look for on your roof after a storm has occurred in 3 seconds, right? You can't. You have to, whatever the length of the video should be the amount of time it takes to explain that properly to a customer, right? Or to a homeowner or property owner. A lot of times we get hung up on that. Now, there are things like, hey, Instagram won't allow anything more than 59 seconds.
Right. Yeah, I had that issue.
Right. So now you take a clip of that long piece of content and you can pull a clip of that and say, to see more, go here.
Wow, that's a great idea.
See what I'm saying?
Didn't think about that.
It's all in the repurposing. You can look at our Instagram is an easy way to figure that out. Like, I shoot these podcasts and webinars and speak on stage, and I take those huge pieces of content and we just make little clips that fit on Instagram and fit on Facebook and fit on YouTube. And like, you could take the big piece of content and chop it up into multiple pieces.
And then do you have the big content on your website somewhere, and then have it linked back to your website as
It could be on your,
like a
it could be on your
citation and
website.
backlink type deal?
Yeah, the backlinking value there is not huge, but it could be on YouTube. You could take the YouTube video, embed it on a page on your website, create a call to action around it if you want. So there's multiple things that you can do with that, right? So video is huge. And just think of Jen. I don't think Jen's on here anymore, but in the communication to your clients, right? You could incorporate that into something that goes out to them on a weekly basis. Hey, here's our update on the supply shortage in the Louisiana market right now, right? Now you have these little pieces of communication that go out to these people that maybe you're not calling them and talking to them, but they're getting a piece of value, and it helps with manage the expectations of the process. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do. First thing to do, Caleb, is start shooting videos. Giving him a hard time. He was on that. How for everyone, was that helpful of what we did last time?
Incredibly helpful. I got the gimbal. I have some much higher quality videos.
Nice, man.
That I still, I have a lot of them. I still have not published.
Still
Very
have
many.
not pressed that button.
But
He's scared.
I have
of that
some.
button.
Our video game has definitely improved noticeably, and great things to come really
want you-
soon there.
I want you
You'll
to
be-
tag me in the first video, please. Tag Roofer Marketers in the first video that you post.
You got it. Absolutely.
Jim,
And
were
if I
you
don't see
at
it by
RoofCon?
Christmas, there's gonna be problems.
Jim, were you at RoofCon?
Yeah, I was at RoofCon. Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. I don't know if we interacted at RoofCon, but I was like, I know when I first like started getting emails from you guys, like I know I saw these somewhere.
Yeah, I did
Not for
let's see,
sure.
yeah, we had a booth at RoofCon. I did a breakout session, did a bunch of stuff. So
I was at
yeah.
the breakout session.
Yeah, nice, man. Awesome. Anything else, anyone? I got a couple more. I got about 7 more minutes before I got to jump off and record a podcast interview here in a little bit.
I would like to touch on something that might be overkill. For this 5 to 7 contacts per valid lead, is it beneficial for those contacts to come from different voices, different people or departments in the company, or is it better for them to come from one person, i.e. your salesman? And to compound that, me as the owner and qualifier, is it valuable for me to make these contacts? And is it appropriate for me to be contacting these customers personally?
Yeah, for sure. Here's what I like. And you'll get this in the webinar replay sequence. You're gonna see this. There's automation in that, guys. So the emails that come out to you, I am not personally sending you. Unfortunately, it's coming through our system, and we have them scheduled out. Nikki has them all scheduled out to go to you. They're already ready. She's already written them. They're already going out. So, but at the end of that sequence, you're going to get an email from Nikki that says, "Hey, Jim told me to reach out to you." You're going to get a bunch of emails from me, and then you're going to get an email from Nikki that says, "Hey, Jim told me to reach out to you and ask you this," right? And so, yes, the answer is yes, something could come from you. I like to have a little bit later in the communication channel, or you could even do it, early on, where like a half an hour after they interact, a text message goes out from you saying, "Hey, this is Caleb. I just want to make sure that our team is taking care of you and helped get your issues resolved," or whatever the text you want to write in there, kind of a general message like, "Hey, just want to check, like, is there anything else that we can help you with? Like, can we do it?" Like that type of thing. You can have that go out a couple of hours later. You can have that go out a couple of weeks later. And I like that. But just use an owner's voice in that message, right? Use a little bit different, communication, because, "Hey, just wanted to check in. We haven't heard, the team said that they haven't heard from you. I just wanted to make sure XYZ," right? Like,
Great answer, man. Thank you.
anything else?
I would know your secrets, Jim.
All my secrets. I don't have any secrets. You'll get to know me. I don't have secrets. I just let it all out. We publish everything.
I'd like to add something.
Yeah, man.
I mean, we're in a pretty dominated market. I don't know if it's, how dominant it is compared to like Texas or something like that, but
Where you out of?
What's that?
Where you out of?
DC area?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Anybody
Competitive
else?
market, for sure.
Anybody else around this area?
Real competitive.
But yeah, I mean, you can easily spend, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 on Google Ads and not get crap out of it. Just because of how competitive it is here. So with that being said, you maybe might get 2 or 3 leads out of it, maybe a couple calls out of it, but 1 or 2 may sit, and that's, there is no, I mean, that cost per acquisition is just outrageous. So other than that, in terms of investing money in new strategies besides Google Ads and everything else that everybody else is doing, besides the Facebook, obviously there's old school tactics, like, not tactics, but a lot of people around here, they don't like the canvassing. just because of this type of area. I mean, there's certain places that do appreciate it to some degree, but who appreciates really canvassing, people knocking on their doors. So there's just different markets, different kind of ways to do things. Other than the Facebook stuff and other than the Google Ads stuff and other than canvassing, what other things do you recommend? Well, obviously it's mail flyers and radios.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have your SEO on your website, on your Google My Business listing. You have your Google pay-per-click advertising, search and display, right? Someone clicks on that ad, and I can tell from what you said about spending that amount of money that your campaigns weren't managed properly, because we manage campaigns in that area, and it's definitely not $1,000 per call. Then display campaigns, remarketing to those people. If they do click on one of those ads or visit your website, you have your Google local service ads, you have your Facebook, Instagram, and then, some of the strategies that we're implementing are combined efforts where, like, you sign a contract and a direct mail piece goes to the neighbors, right? Like saying, hey, Bob and Judy, we're going to be doing their roof here soon. Let us know if you need anything. And then and then we run Facebook ads on top of that. And then another direct mail goes out like after build day, after production's, completed and the roof's complete, more direct mail goes out. So it's layering these things I think is the next level of it, if that makes sense. Door to door is going to be door to door, right? I know that, especially in retail markets like you're in, it's hard to say that, but just north of you in New Jersey, Power Home Improvement knocks on a lot of doors, and they do $1 billion a year in roofing and windows and siding. So,
Oh no, sure. There's still a lot of people that knock, but that's in New Jersey, right? Yeah. I mean, there's certain areas that you can knock, but there's certain areas here that you cannot knock.
yeah, for sure.
Major complaints within the, so yeah, no, I hear you.
It happens.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the foundation though for most, roofing companies,
Well, I'd be interested.
Then as you layer it out, you can layer out into radio, TV. You could, I know companies that are successful with that. Billboards, that I know companies that have had success with, with billboards, but it's not just one thing. Like, it's not just put a billboard up and hope for the best. It's put a billboard up, running Facebook ads, being present online, being present in the area, having the branding on your trucks and yard signs, and, everything combines to get people to know, like, and trust you before they're making that phone call. It's brand impressions is a big thing. The more times people see your brand over and over again, the more likely they're going to think of you first.
I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Cool. Well, I got to jump off and get prepped for this, for another podcast episode. Let us know if you have any questions. Reach out. We do this for a living, so hit us up if you need
Thanks,
anything.
Jim.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.